Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons, a podcast about video games. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's great to be here again. Another week, another episode 21 of Pressing Buttons, brought to you by us, because we work hard. But yes, another episode, another week. Couple quick announcements right before we start rolling on this week's episode. We just want to let you guys know Summer's Game Fest is coming. There's going to be a lot of announcements coming in the next 2 weeks with a lot of video game news coming out, with a lot of future titles coming out. Nick and I, we wanted to do something special for you guys, our listeners. We wanted to do a live stream of Summer's Game Fest. It starts on June 9th. It's a Thursday, so basically 2 weeks from now. 2 Eastern time. Be here. We're gonna stream it through my Twitch channel. That's not just me trying to get some numbers. We're gonna be live streaming Thursday, June 9th. We're gonna be doing Summer's Game Fest live stream. We're trying to partner up with Summer's Game Fest. We haven't gotten approved yet, but we're gonna get approved. So don't worry about that. We're going to be doing a live stream show. Come and join us. We're going to be checking out whatever trailers they show for the games on Summer's Game Fest. Hopefully they show a lot of good stuff and you can hear our critique live. And then, we can bullshit around for a little bit with you guys, with the viewers and all that. We always enjoy the feedback that we get, and we always enjoy the banter. So please come join us. We're going to remind you again next weekend, next episode. So you keep that down in your calendars. And I'm excited. I know I don't know about Nick, but I'm excited, to do a live show.
It was my idea.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, just because it was your idea doesn't mean you're excited.
I mean, I'm excited. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
generally, propose ideas about things that I'm not excited about doing. So
Yeah,
very excited. Hoping to get a lot of insane Twitch chat banter going, during the show. So it should be pretty fun.
you can see Nick's reaction to everything that gets shown up. So if you want to see him be happy when there's something announced for PC, or if you want to see him be upset on Nintendo because they announced some bullshit, it's the perfect time to do it live.
Nintendo won't even be there, so you won't be able to see that.
Well, I still feel like you're gonna find some way to shit on Nintendo.
It'll be a roller coaster of emotions. You'll see the highs, you'll see the lows.
Yeah, but
It'll be fun.
But we definitely want you guys to be there. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come join us June 9th, 2 Eastern time, Summer Games Fest. We'll put the link for my Twitch channel up, and then come and join us and bullshit with us. We love to hear you guys. We love to see you guys interact with the channel. We'll also put it up on Discord. Make sure you're checking out the Discord, staying on top of news. And then, okay, I guess that was the only news that I wanted to say.
Yeah, I was like, what's this mysterious second announcement you have? I don't know if you're...
I think I had a second thing, but I forgot. It happens. All right, so let's move on to the video game news segment for the week. We're going to start off strong with some Sony stuff. First thing we wanted to talk about was that Sony announced State of Play for June 2nd. That's this upcoming Thursday. Funny, Thursdays. It's basically going to be focused, 30-minute showcase. They said it's going to be focused on third-party titles. I'm pretty sure they're going to show maybe 1 or 2 first-party titles. And they're also going to show some VR titles. They're looking at maybe showcasing 20 titles, which is funny because Nick and I were talking about VR, PSVR, and he asked me like how many VR titles for the PS VR did I think were made, and I said 60. Turns out it was 100 times that, so 600. Is
10
that 100 times that? 10 times that. My math is horrible. That's why you're the accountant. But yeah,
I think it's yeah. I mean, that's just like according to Wikipedia. So who knows like how accurate that list is? But I think it's a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily exclusive to PSVR, or it was mainly like a console release that had like some kind of VR thing tacked onto it. But I think in terms of like, I don't really recall that many like big titles on PSVR. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to what they have for PSVR 2.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go through all 20 titles in the state of play. I think they just mentioned that they're targeting 20 titles for launch of PSVR 2. So, we'll see how much they show during the state of play. But yeah, I'm hoping. I've had VR stuff for a long time, and I think I've been eagerly awaiting, like big marquee releases to really give people a reason to own these things. I think it's really just been like a few games that have been really successful, and maybe like Half-Life Alyx as being kind of like big VR games. But other than that, there really hasn't been too much to get excited about, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully they have some good stuff to show.
Yeah, and honestly, they also don't have a firm release date for the PSVR. So, I wouldn't say this is a full showcase for the PSVR. They'll probably do one down the road, and maybe give some info. Maybe it's looking like holidays 2022, just because they usually release something around that time, and it's a perfect time to release something like this. All right, so that's kind of it for the state of play that we wanted to talk about. Like I said, keep it with us. We'll keep you guys updated, obviously on the Discord as well. Any news or anything like that, we will definitely be putting it up there and discussing it. So make sure you guys are on the Discord. If you aren't, join the community and have a little talk with us. And then going forward, next bit of news on the heels of Sony stuff. Returnal getting listed for PC. It got listed on the Steam database, which is kind of confirmation that it's going to be released on PC, especially with Sony having such a big push, putting a lot of their first-party games into PC. We already seen it with God of War. We've seen it with Days Gone, and we've seen it with Horizon. You and I have both played Returnal. We thought it was a great game. We haven't gotten to the DLC pack, but we're definitely gonna dig in there, especially because it is co-op. So we want to do a couple runs together and see how that goes. But I think this is great news. I think any time that you can get a game, especially such a great game that got so many awards, that I think nailed the story, nailed the combat, the environment, the mechanics, everything like that. When you get it and you can bring it to a wider audience, in this case PC, I think it's for the better for all the gamers. So I'm excited that this got announced. I'm not a big fanboy that I'm like, oh no, it's coming to PC. I just want it on PlayStation. No, the more people that play the game and enjoy it, the better for me. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think this title is going to do very well on the PC platform. So, yeah, I was glad to hear it's coming. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. We'll see like what performance improvements there are. Maybe there's like additional content beyond what was recently released on, the DLC that was recently released. But yeah, I think it's cool, and it just makes me wonder like what games are PlayStation like not going to put on PC seems to be more of the question, as opposed to like which games are they going to put on there. And I already have a PS5, so, and I'm generally an impatient person, so so if there's like a PlayStation exclusive, that I definitely want to play, like I'll probably just play it on PS5. But in the back of my mind, I might start questioning like, do I really need to play this now, or do I just wait and get it on PC at some point in the future? So yeah, so kind of interesting to see how PlayStation's evolving their PC strategy. In terms of the actual game, I was thinking, I think it would translate pretty well. Like playing, well, you use a controller anyway because you don't know how to use a mouse and keyboard. But for me, yeah, for me, like I'd be interested how the game plays. Like, there's part of me that's like, oh, does it become like easy mode if I have a mouse and keyboard, or is there ways of tweaking the difficulty? Or so I think they'll need to put some thought into how they do that. So I don't know if I'm able to like, I guess I could just like demo it on Steam and return it, but I would want to see like how that plays with mouse and keyboard. I think that could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a great a great comparison for you to do, especially because you're more adept at using the keyboard than I am. Going back to what you said in terms of like, now that Sony's kind of pushing more of their first party games and releasing them later on down the road to PC, kind of on the fence if for any future games coming out. Should I wait? Should I see if it's going to be released on PC? I think I would just still stick to PlayStation, especially if it's a first party exclusive. Just because, like I said, we talked about earlier, the main driving force for me and my PlayStation is, besides the exclusives, is the control. The DualSense is a great controller with the adaptive triggers and all that stuff that Sony is able to do with their first party games that they really incorporated. And even a lot of the third party games that are released, when they incorporate the DualSense into the games, it works out really well. And, we both know from the use, from playing Returnal, how well it was used there with the raindrops and the weapons and the different trigger modes, how well it works. The DualSense works on that type of game. So, with that being the difference maker, I would still kind of stick to PlayStation 5, but it is definitely a much better situation where it's still going to be available on PC, because a lot of people don't have a PS5. There's not a lot of PS5s available out in the wild. So it's definitely something where if you could get it on PC, because that's the only thing you have, I would still just get it on PC. But like we were saying, it's such a great game. It's great that it's going to be out there to more people, and then we can't wait to see what the next games are that are going to be released. Most likely, the New Horizon's going to be out there. Probably God of War eventually down the road. It's a strong partnership, especially with Sony trying to do the share play, the direct to TV streaming. Everybody trying to get into this market, especially with the new PlayStation Plus services where you can stream the games. Maybe it's something of a push that they want to push. So,
Demon Souls has got to be, just given the success of Elden Ring, like, to me, like, Demon Souls is just like a no-brainer. And
I can definitely see that down the line. I think they're just more right now focused on trying to get everything they can. If the developing conditions weren't as bad as they are right now in the current market, with a lot of games being delayed and a lot of games being canceled or anything like that, or just not spoken of, basically, there's no information for certain games for a while. If the situation wasn't as bad as it is because of the pandemic, I think we would definitely see more of a push, because honestly, think about it, when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, there was a big push of getting a lot of remakes and stuff like that, just ported over for games that weren't even like 3 or 4 years old, which is funny. But obviously, with the situation in games development at the moment, it's not as easy, I guess, to work on all these games. But I could definitely see something like Demon Souls. It's such a great game. It was such a great upgrade with the remake. I can definitely see something like that being pushed to PC and a lot of people loving it. I mean, it's the first original one, so who wouldn't?
Did you know the story where when they first started, when Sony started releasing details around the PlayStation console and some of the launch games, they erroneously like labeled Demon Souls as like coming to PC.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I'm like, don't need a PS5. It's the only game I care about, and I'll get it on PC and don't care about. And then, like, so in my mind, that when I saw that, I was like, not buying a PS5. And then I think like after a day or two, they ended up correcting that and be like, no, it's exclusive to PS5. And I'm like, okay, well now I'm back to buying a PS5. So it was that one game was making or breaking my
that one game pushed
decision
you one way or the other.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
I mean, I think we all deep down are that type of gamer where it's like, if this game is coming out for this, I definitely need to get my hands on this if I don't have it already. So that's the power of these games, and that's why you have exclusive. That's why you push them to other systems or you push them to a certain system, and it works. I mean, to a certain extent. Obviously, at
least on me.
Yeah, obviously it takes away from other gamers, but with the cross play and cross progression that's going on with a lot of these new games coming out and stuff like that, it does seem to be opening up a lot of doors for the games to be more available in a wider consoles and systems. So that's great for everybody. All right, and then right on the heels of that, more Sony news. We wanted to talk about a couple television slash video game projects that are just got kind of announced this week. Sony, in partnerships with Amazon, Netflix, basically announced that they're developing a TV series for God of War that's going to Amazon. They're also developing a TV series for Horizon Zero Dawn slash for Forbidden West for Netflix, and then they're also making a Gran Turismo TV show that we don't know with who or who's attached to it or what's happening with that, but that was also in the books. We wanted to kind of talk about this just because we obviously with our closing thoughts we do, we give our little tidbits, what shows we're watching, what movies we've seen and stuff like that, and also with the games that these are getting based on. We think they're great franchises. They definitely have the capacity for great storytelling. I myself, big God of War fan, big fan of the originals, big fan of the reboot, as they say. And I'm also a big Horizon fan, big fan of the world, big fan of the characters, big fan of the look of it. And then Gran Turismo, cars.
Yeah, I don't know what they're. I don't know if it's like. Did they give any details around like what the actual shows are? Because to me, it's like, is this is it Top Gear or is it like Fast and Furious?
That's the one that threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
because they had like that Need for Speed movie with Aaron Paul, didn't work. If they did something like Need for Speed Street, I would more appreciate it. But I think maybe the popularity of that F1 show on Netflix, I forgot the name of it. I think it's A Drive to Survive. I think the popularity of that show just kind of has a lot of people flocking to like car sims and kind of seeing how the racing world works and stuff like that. So maybe they'll do something like that. But I wanted to talk more about the God of War, obviously, which being such a storied franchise that's been out for such a long time, and then the original being so different from the reboot. I'm kind of wondering what angle they're gonna go for. Are they gonna go for the original Greek mythology angle, where like Kratos was just straight up murdering everybody, having sex with everybody, killing all the gods, or they're gonna kind of focus on the reboot where he's kind of trying to make amends, living a more peaceful life with Norse mythology. I wish they would do both. They would kind of start off with the original, see how that goes. I think it's a great storyline, and then the more calm reboot. Well, not calm because he's still kicking ass and taking names, but just like different, more fatherly side of the reboot. And then with Horizon itself, I think it's a great story. I don't want to spoil it, but this post-apocalyptic world with these robot animals and stuff like that, new society kind of worshipping technology and stuff like that. I think that's a great concept. So I'm excited to see where they go. I hope they do it justice. I know with something like the Halo series on Paramount, it didn't get a lot of great reviews and a lot of great hype. A lot of people didn't like the show mainly because it kind of differs from the games, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a show that differs from the games as long as it makes it interesting, and it's interesting enough where it's its own thing. I still haven't finished watching that, so I'll have more thoughts on the Halo Paramount show when I finish that up, but we'll see how that ends. What about you? Are these something that you're excited about? I know we both like great TV shows, so are you excited for one more than the other? Are these stories that you want to see told on TV screens?
Well, I don't know. Gran Turismo doesn't really have a story, but it's the guy Neil Blomkamp. I think that's his name. He's like the District 9 and Chappie guy.
Yeah, Neil
Neil
Blomkamp. Yeah, they're trying to tap him.
I don't quite understand that, but maybe there's something cool there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I'd probably be more interested, honestly, in like a Horizon TV series than the actual game, because when I played the first game, I actually really liked the look and the world and all that, and I just couldn't really get into the gameplay all that much. So
yeah,
no,
I could
by
totally
process
see
of
that.
elimination, if you strip out the gameplay, like maybe I like something that doesn't have it. So
yeah,
that could be cool. And yeah, I think everyone wants the I can't remember her name, but the actress from Game of Thrones who was Jon Snow's what's her
Emilia
name?
Clarke. Oh
no, the redhead.
Oh, his real life wife, Rose Tyler.
Yeah. But also,
is
or is it? I don't know. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, though. But
yeah.
I think she's like the no-brainer candidate for that. But yeah, God of War could be cool. Yeah, who knows which story direction they'll take. But yeah, we'll have to just kind of wait and see on that one. But I think I'm really open to. From my perspective, what's interesting is like just how game adaptations are now so normal. It's just like every week there's more games, more TV series, more whatever, and so yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much open to watching anything just as long as it's good. I'm not necessarily gonna watch God of War things just because it's God of War.
Yeah.
Same thing with Halo, right? Like I'm a Halo fan, but like everyone's been dunking on the show and about like how bad it is. So
see, that's the difference. I'm not that big of a Halo fan.
Just the general. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. So I'm not that big of a Halo fan. So like, I wouldn't watch a Halo show just because it's Halo. But I am such a big God of War fan that I would watch a show because it's God of War. I mean, I would also say if it sucked, I would also be like, oh yeah, it sucks.
Okay.
It's hard to get past that. You have to separate, your love from the art.
Do you have any dream castings for Kratos?
Well, I honestly think the Christopher Judge, which is the guy who does the voiceover for the new Kratos, I think he would be great as if they go with the new Kratos role. If they go back in time, I know the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, Jimon Hanzo. Sorry if I fucked it up, but he was rumored for a while to kind of play the first original Kratos. So I wouldn't mind seeing him, but obviously it would be two different tones. The first one being more brutal and sexed up, and then the second one kind of being more of a father-son story and stuff like that. But I with Sony having such a big push, and we've discussed this on the show before, they have Twisted Metal coming out. They just, when they acquired Bungie, they were in talks to develop some live action stuff in Bungie's universe. With these titles that we just talked about, it's a big push, and we love to see it because the more media we see of the franchises that we love, we want to consume it. And I think the track record for Sony itself, it's a pretty good track record with like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Venom, even though it's not everybody's favorite. Let's not talk about Morbius. That's another thing. But
have you seen this just internet craze with
Morbius is skyrocketing. They're gonna make a sequel based on the internet.
Yeah, I hope not.
I hope they do, just because it just shows you how dumb everything is.
It's everywhere. Everywhere on the internet, people are talking about how it's Morbin time or whatever. I'm just like...
I know they were streaming it on Twitch and it didn't get taken down. I should have just watched it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love the big push of these video game franchises getting pushed into TV and movie realms. And then speaking of, you also have The Last of Us, which I think might be slated to come out at the end of the year, if not early next year. Also looking forward to that on HBO. So if they do the story justice, if they do the characters justice, even if it's their own way, if it's a different story, as long as you enjoy the media, I think I'm all for it. So I'm excited. I'm excited for God of War. I'm excited for Horizon. And then maybe I'll leave Gran Turismo for the back burner and see what that's about. All right. Cool. And then that's kind of it with the Sony stuff. We wanted to talk real quick about the one big game announcement that happened during the week, and that was EA announcing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order that came out a couple years ago. It got announced to be released in 2023. It just got announced a couple days ago at Star Wars Celebration that Disney was showing, where they were showing all their Star Wars stuff in the future of Star Wars. I'm excited for this game. They showed off about 2 minute cinematic. It looks kind of cool. It's set 5 years after the last one. New characters are in there, same old characters as well. You can kind of see, especially with the Obi-Wan show being out on Disney Plus, that they kind of have some of the characters maybe crossing each other's paths. Like they have the sisters in there as well, and the Inquisitors and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see if, because this is going to be basically in the timeline of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, if they do kind of take some of those characters and bring them in and kind of cross paths at some point. And it is a game made by Respawn, which, you know, we both think is a great studio, with Titanfall and originally a lot of the old developers from Infinity Ward, original Call of Duty developers. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they've learned in the last couple of years, especially since Fallen Order was their first third-party action game, this being their second. I'm excited to see what they've learned, how they've improved the game. And also, Stig, I want to say Mastusen. I'm horrible with names. Every time I'm butchering a name. But
just call him Stig.
Stig is the game director for this game, and we know him from I believe he was the game director for the second God of War, right before Cory Barlog and right after David Jaffe. So that was another great game. I think it's in good hands. I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into the Star Wars universe, and I'm excited for the worlds and the characters, and hopefully we can do different Jedis. It looked like there was some weird Sith in a test tube, so I also want to play a Sith. So we'll see.
The internet wants it to be Raiden from Metal Gear Revengeance.
Raiden and
it's not Raiden, but you know,
yeah, Raiden and Morbius. They're having the hell of a week.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to this? I know you're a big, obviously, Star Wars fan. So
yeah, Star Wars fan, and you know, Souls-like games, which I think Fallen Order is. I guess it's in that genre or close enough.
Yeah, it's very Souls-like. I wouldn't say it's hardcore, obviously, because you don't want to alienate a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it does have its Souls-like difficulty. But it is much easier than a Souls-like game.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm totally down with that. I think I just skipped the first one because it was a little too janky for me. But I have to imagine, given Respawn, you know, that was their first foray into that type of game. And I think they're an extraordinary studio, so I have to imagine that they learned a ton with the first one, and will carry all those learnings to the sequel. And you know, I'm expecting the sequel to be pretty awesome. So definitely have my eyes on that. It looks. I think it was CGI only, but if that's I think it's next gen only, right? Like I think it's only going to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm expecting the game to look way better, which would be great.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like you said, it's next gen only. They said it's only going to be releasing on PC, Xbox One X or /S, and PS5. So it's another thing that we wanted to mention, where you see a lot of the studios are leaving the PS4 and the Xbox One kind of behind, just to focus all their resources into just developing for the newer consoles. It's a tough choice, especially just because the supply isn't there yet, but you can obviously see it's causing more stress on these developers to make a game for a new system while also trying to develop for an old system. We saw it with Gotham Knights that we talked about a couple episodes ago, where they also said that they're going to forego the old consoles. We can see that in a lot of games coming out, that they're probably going to be saying, we're going to forego the old consoles. We're just going to be releasing in the new consoles. It's taking a toll on our people, and it's taking a lot of resources. So I feel kind of bad for everybody else, but you gotta move on to the next generation.
Yeah, I know it's wildly selfish, but I'm like, next gen
Fuck
only,
them kids.
please. Next, just move on. It's
No,
time to move
yeah,
on. Yeah.
it's about time. I mean, it's been 2 years, so well, almost 2 years, a year and a half. In the holidays, we're coming up on 2 years of the new console generation. So it's for the better. I think once they start focusing on the newer consoles, it'll things will go much smoother. All right, so that's it for our news segment. It's a light news week, like we said. There wasn't a lot of announcements. There wasn't a lot of leaks. We thought there'd be more leaks, especially with Summer Games Fest coming up. There's a lot of rumors floating around, but we don't want to dive too much into rumors because a lot of those things don't turn out to be true. But definitely, I feel like in the next 2 weeks, we're definitely going to be getting a lot of more information on a lot of new games coming out, a lot of games that we haven't heard from in a while, and then a bright look ahead to the future of video games. And we're excited. We're going to be streaming that, so make sure you follow the Pressing Buttons Twitter and the Pressing Buttons Discord. Follow us wherever you can. We'll keep you guys updated, and we'll let you know when we're going to be talking about this and when we're going to be live streaming. All right, so we're just going to move on straight through our closing thoughts. And then I'll start it off. Haven't been doing a lot of video game playing lately, just been very busy this week. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 7 Remake, still playing a little bit of that. And playing Destiny. Destiny 2, new season came out last Tuesday. Basically, Season of the Haunted, new storyline, kind of continuing the last expansion. The big thing that came out with the season was Solar 3.0, which is a big rework of the Solar subclass. I talked about this before with the Void 3.0, where they reworked the Void subclass. With the Solar 3.0, definitely love the improvements that they made in terms of the burning and the healing and stuff like that. I think it's definitely pushing the game to a new platform in terms of how fun it is and the things you could do with each class. Obviously, I think with the last subclass, the Void subclass, it was a better rework just because the Void subclass itself was very underwhelming. So it kind of it improved it too much. Whereas the Solar subclass definitely was good. It just got a little bit of a buff. So it's not as massive as the Void, but I think it's still fun to play, and I'm having fun. I think everybody I'm playing with is having fun. They just released a new dungeon, which is like a short mini raid, 3 people. I've completed it a couple times, definitely much faster than I've done the raid, and I'm not as stressed as much. So I'm having a good time. I think it's a hit. I'm enjoying myself, so I'll just keep playing Destiny. And then the other thing I've been doing is still watching the mid-season invitational from League. The finals are tomorrow. T1, which is the Korean representative, which I'm rooting for, versus RNG, which is the Chinese representative. They face off tomorrow, Sunday at 4 a.m., which by the time this episode releases, it'll already pass. But like I was saying, I'm still rooting for T1, the Korean team. They've been playing great. They kind of stumbled the first couple of days where they were getting their groove. But they finished out the group stages really strong. They ended up clinching the 2 seed. And it's going to be a really tough battle because these are the top 2 teams and they're playing out of their minds. So I'm excited to watch the game tomorrow. It's a best of 5. And I'll let you guys know next week how it ended. What about you? What you been up to?
Yeah, I've been playing a couple games. One being Kuni Crossworlds, which I think I mentioned. We've talked about it a couple times over the last couple of episodes. So
it's been you're looking forward to.
Yeah, so so I have a lot of thoughts on this game. It came out on Wednesday, so I've been playing it quite a bit, and I don't even know how to describe this experience. So it's it's a gacha game, so you gotta like earn currency to then basically play like slot machines to get gear and Familiars, which is basically like their version of like Pokemon. Uh, so it's a gacha game. It's free to play. Uh, Getting the game on my PC was kind of like a weird experience where you first had to install it on a mobile phone. So I had to install it on Android, create an account, start a character, and then once I like had a character set up, I could then download the PC client, link the accounts, and so it was like it wasn't that bad, but it was. I don't think I've ever had to do that to play a game, so it's just kind of like a weird thing they have to go through to just play the game on PC. But then when you start playing the game, it just plays itself. It's like so I guess it's and I think maybe this is like a new experience for me. I think there's a lot of these types of games, particularly on mobile, where they're called auto battlers, which isn't a term I've ever heard, but yeah, like basically you just kind of sign up for a bunch of quests. You click the quest, and your character will just start going right to it. And if you got to kill stuff, it'll just automatically kill it for you. And so it's,
that sounds good and bad at the same time.
So yeah, here I'm like very mixed on it. Because to me that sounds awful. Like if someone were to explain that to me, I'd be like, why would you play that?
Yeah.
And then now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, I can.
Why wouldn't you play?
Yeah, I can like. So and I think maybe one of the reasons why after I played it a little bit, I got a little bit more open-minded to it because I had this like game idea a very long time ago where I looked at Final Fantasy 12 as my favorite battle system in Final Fantasy, where
it's very automated. Yeah,
it uses the Gambit system, and you're setting up a bunch of rules for how you want everyone to act. So I'd always thought about like a more, basically a version of that system, but like on steroids, and it even goes into like automating like where you're going in the world, and so this is more or less that, but Ni no Kuni is like such an extreme version of it where there's just so much like items and currencies and all this like gacha stuff where you're just like more or less like overwhelmed by like systems and inventory. So it's like you almost kind of need the game to play itself so that you can like manage all this stuff that's going on with like the economy of the game.
So you're not bogged down by a lot of useless stuff, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like playing the game. Yeah. So I don't know. Like So I think what'll happen. Like I'll continue playing it. I'm having like fun. Like it's Ni no Kuni. Like it's a beautiful game. It's Studio Ghibli characters. Character designs, and it's just kind of like a fun world to go around in. And you don't have to have everything be automatic. Like you can make it all manual and do it yourself. And I think once you get into higher level bosses, like I think you kind of need to do it, actually play it, because the fights are a little bit more complex. But if you're just like running around, killing enemies, like standard enemies in the field, like you can more or less just set that to autoplay. So I don't know. I'm having a good time. It's definitely like the first time I've played this type of game, so it was a little bit jarring initially. But I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is I'll play it a little bit more. I'll kind of hit that like pay to win, free to play wall of just like needing to grind stuff so much or needing to buy stuff, where I'll just be like, okay, I'm I've had my fill of this and I'm ready to move on. So I expect that to happen like in the next week or so. So, which I'd be okay with that. Like, get a couple weeks of a free game, and it kind of opens my eyes to this like auto battler system, which I've never really experienced.
It does seem like, especially with these free to play games, you got to find that sweet spot where it's still free to play, but you enjoy it and you don't feel like you got to put money into it to continue playing it. And it seems like you're reaching that, that border where it's like, okay, seems like I might have to pay money to enjoy myself now. So maybe a week and a half.
Something like that. Yeah. So it's been interesting, and I know like a lot of people are like just out of principle would refuse to play this type of game. First of all, just because it's like a gacha game and that has certain baggage associated with it, and then like a lot of the stuff's automated, and then they actually just recently announced they have this whole like blockchain NFT integration that they're trying to roll out. So that's turning off a lot of people. So I think there's a lot of reasons to hate this game, but I'm still kind of going into it with an open mind and having a pretty good time.
All right, I'm excited to see your further review of this and see how you are for a week from now.
Yeah, that like automated system, I think it could be balanced in a way where it actually is, more enjoyable, and you got to put more kind of strategy into it. So, but I understand why that could work well for like a mobile player, right? Because, imagine trying to play Final Fantasy 14 on a mobile device with like touch, like it just, that would be awful. So I get the like automation stuff, but now that they're trying to make a PC client out of it, it just kind of maybe doesn't translate as well. But I could see why they have that mechanic in there for a mobile game.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're both big fans of the Final Fantasy 12 Gambit system, where, like we said, it is automated, but you have a lot of control of what you want it to do, and then you can switch it up. Whereas with this, I feel like from the sound of it is too automated, where you could just leave it, and in a year from now, it'll be done, and you'll be like, okay, I beat the game beat itself. So you do want to put a little bit of work on it, is what you're saying.
There's also, on top of while you're playing the game, there's a lot of automation, but there's also an AI mode. So think of it as, you're putting, like, you're shutting your computer off, you're going to bed. You can put the game into AI mode where it'll just continue playing, even if you're not even like logged into the game. Like everything shut off. You're sleeping. It'll continue playing the game up to like 4 or 6 hours. So it'll basically be doing what you normally would have been doing. Playing it, but it's automated. Like they just kind of do it off. When you're sleeping. Wow. So
what do they even need?
There you go. Yeah. and then like that's like one of their upsells is you get more hours of AI mode if you buy stuff. So it's like it gets pretty egregious. So I'm not gonna give this company any money, but I'm gonna try to get some enjoyment out of the game.
I got you. Don't worry. If there's a intervention needed, I'll get enough people.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I think so. That's the latest on that. So that's been keeping me pretty busy. And then I think the other game I picked up, I don't know if this was announced or if I just missed it, but it just came out recently. It's the Hatsune Miku rhythm games.
I think I saw some sort of info on it, but that's just because it's kind of deep buried in the internet.
Yeah. So I think there was a version of this game that came out on Nintendo Switch, and then what just recently came out was a Steam version. So I now have the Steam version of that game, and I don't know if we've ever really talked about rhythm games at all, but I'm a huge rhythm game fan.
Not too much, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe this is like a spoiler alert for when we get into like our gaming accomplishments segment.
Oh,
but
episode 25.
Yeah, episode 25. But there's at least one rhythm game that's going to be a part of that conversation. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of rhythm games. I've actually never played any of these Hatsune Miku games. So yeah, I was playing that. I was having a good time. Like in my mind, it's like I feel like I've been like transported to the arcades in Akihabara. It's just I don't know. It was just cool just to kind of like go through the song list, and I don't know. It's fun. So
yeah, you're much better at those than I am, because I think we tried it when we were in Japan, and I think we tried it when we were in Seattle, and I suck at these rhythm things. Yeah.
You just got in the rhythm.
Well, that's a lie, but whatever.
I think people are generally surprised that I have rhythm, so
you have rhythm for rhythm games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're burnt.
I gotta find the nearest burn center address. Okay, but yeah, I think it's those two. So I've been a lot of anime in my life with those two games. So
always good.
But yeah, keep me fun. And then the other thing is Combo Breaker is going on right now, actually. So that's one of the biggest fighting game tournaments, certainly in the U.S., if not the world. It's in Schaumburg, Illinois, but it's a pretty big event. So I've been checking out a lot of matches, and so I've been watching fighting game matches while having Nina Kuni automatically play for me. So it's a great multitasking game.
Yeah. I mean, with the Combo Breaker, it's always funny because it kind of always sneaks up on us, but we both enjoy watching it just because it's a lot of fighting game tournaments, and these guys that are in the top 10 or top 12 or whatever, like they're so technical, and it's amazing to see. And then also the commentators are so great at doing it and calling out the moves, but also keeping the banter and throwing quips here and there. It's great to watch. So if that's something that you guys, our listeners, haven't partaked in, ever seen, it's always good to look up on Twitch and check it out. Especially Evo coming up in August, and we're gonna be there. We're gonna try to make some content while we're there to kind of bring the fighting game community to our listeners, so get our listeners more in tune with competitions and stuff that are out there. So definitely something good to watch and have an ear out for.
Yeah, the tournament organizer of Combo Breaker is also the guy that does Evo now. So I think based on how Combo Breaker kind of does, it's one of the first like big tournaments kind of in the COVID era that's happened. So I think a lot of people are going to look to that and how it does, and that kind of being like a leading indicator of how Evo is going to shake out, being back in person for the first time in a while.
Yeah, so we're going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to be checking out those tournaments, and hopefully you guys too, keep an update on that. Might even have us in the Discord talking about some of these fights, some of these tournaments. So check it out. Make sure you guys are logged into our Discord, pressing buttons. It's on the website. The link is on the website. Make sure you're in there. All right. And that does it for episode 21 of Pressing Buttons. We will be back next week with another brand new episode. Hopefully we'll get more new video game news. I'm excited. It's going to be a wonderful 2 weeks of video games. And I can't wait for all the surprises that we're going to be discussing in the next couple of weeks. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.